let's spend some of the minutes in these, reviewing some of the key steps. And I still think there's more things added there. Always work towards reducing fraud. That's it. Yeah, okay. Well,
there was a different list up there earlier. I was taking some notes. There was a different list up there earlier.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, well, we play tricks with you, it just keeps you on your toes. But here we go. We'll keep on writing and keep on adding, but then let's start with you. If I were to ask you what your key takeaway for the industry today would be, let's start with Jack. We heard from him. So what would you say that we need to do now?
Well, thanks for the invite. 2 years ago, I presented the closing keynote, and I had just come back from Italy.
Pizza.
And yeah, exactly. And you asked me to do that, and I thought, like, now's the time. And I titled that presentation, The Renaissance of Messaging. And there was sort of like two themes, which I said, hey, this is coming. The Renaissance takes a while. It's not it's not a quick thing. So I think it's here. I think everything I put in that presentation really led to AI and RCS. We did hear some nuggets on AI today. There's a bunch of companies applying it. We heard less than Mary and I thought we would hear, and you were talking about on the last panel. I'm prepared to give some opinions on where the market is with RCS, and that's sort of like my sort of focus. My main takeaway is we're sort of done with the cheerleading phase. It's here, and we really need to align on some standards, and I think we're maybe a little bit further behind than was acknowledged today in terms of what needs to happen now to get like speed and scale and adoption. So the most important thing right now is adoption, and there's a few things holding that back, which I won't get into right now, but my biggest takeaway is everyone's aligned on the benefits of going to RCS. I think we've proven over time. When you think about 20 years ago, I'm looking at Jeff Simmons, there was a road show in 2004 called the Mobile Marketing Association Roadshow, and it was about promoting SMS, right? And a few of us were in the room, and that was everybody gets together. They had just done interoperability, right? And so when they connected the networks, the floodgates opened, and everybody realized that, okay, this is a channel that we can harness. The attitude in that room and on that roadshow was, your sort of buzzword takeaway was a rising tide raises all boats, right? I think that was like the first time in a career that I heard that, and then I've heard it a million times since. But it's really true, and that's true of today. And I think that Apple coming on board and everybody aligning has happened, and there's a few more things we need to do to make sure that everybody's put in a good position to really scale this the appropriate way.
Yeah, I agree.
So, quick summary, if I may. We're not there, but we're almost there.
Sure.
Is it like we're getting closer and closer, but we're still not there?
Yeah, and I think we should be talking about why we're not there. And it doesn't have to be on stage, it can be in subgroups, but there needs to be a cohesive attack plan on the things that remain, which I'll get into in a minute.
Fair enough. And of course, maybe outside, but as you can see, there is a waiting.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for it either. I mean, not in my mind. Jack and I were in, not to name drop, but I'll location drop. We were in Cannes, in France.
As we often do, we have vacation together.
As you do.
As well, Monte Carlo, Hong Kong, jet setters.
Precisely. It was the Cannes Lions Creativity Festival, which is like the Oscars for the advertising industry. And it was late June, July of 2018. And I was there in a former role promoting RCS. And I was trying to court the advertising agencies that were there to get them to see this as a means of adding to their tool set. Because at the time, it was a really difficult time in the agency world as they were looking for just new and expansive revenue, as well as value proposition for why they should be still involved in helping any brand get to a consumer. And we're still talking about it. So I don't really know what's going on, but there is simply no reason that this has taken so long. I mean, I find it so intensely frustrating to see in the United States the continuation of, the dragging of the feet on something that is so obviously valuable to the brand, to the consumer, It doesn't make any sense to me. And there's a lift here, impossible, right? I mean, we talked a little bit about Jack has got a great point about incentive, and this is a revenue stream.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a differential. Let's go.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something you mentioned right now, because Paul Rupert was counting how many times AI was mentioned. I was surprised, but we got 7, 10, potentially now it's 20. It's probably a bit less than I thought. But isn't AI a bit like sex for teenagers? Isn't it? Who does it doesn't really speak about it, and sometimes who does not do it talks a lot about that.
Oh, I see.
Isn't that?
Okay. Man, I really
I wasn't
get
with
that.
you.
I don't know. It's the end of it. It's before the drinks. But is it? I got this sense. Or should I say that API as well could be? We use APIs at the beginning.
I'll make a comment on the AI. I think that I did hear it a few times related to compliance. And at Vibes, we're in a pretty interesting position because we have direct relationships with the brands, and we're a tier 1 DCA, direct connected aggregator. And so we see sort of both sides of the ecosystem. We're absolutely applying AI and machine learning to police our message traffic and flag things that customers send. And that, I don't want that to get through to my network, to protect the networks, protect the consumer experience, and protect my carrier ratings, right? So it's all about quality. And then it's back to incentives, which is the only incentives in the space right now, if you want to grow revenue, is more volume, right? I think there should be a quality incentive. But AI, I see real progress because I know we're doing it, and we don't actually talk about it.
Oh, a surprise.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's so fair. I don't know about the analogy, but good point.
It's late, but there we go. And what more should it be, if anything? Should we talk about AI?
Well, I mean, for what I just gave as an example of enhanced sort of automation on compliance, which is really flagging and policing bad messaging traffic, and that's working, and I think other aggregators are doing it too. I can't speak for them. But then on the personalization at scale, right? Once you learn data, what have we learned from SMS over 20 years? Now that with the RCS onset, we've learned that people will read a message in 5 seconds. Okay, if they're going to respond to it, they'll respond in 60 seconds, and it's incredible. We all know this, but what that gives you is a longer duration of engagement to get more data. Right? Can continue to ask questions. Hopefully everybody here has used ChatGPT. One of my favorite things, literally in my life, is driving with my daughter, and I put ChatGPT on the car audio, and I let her ask the questions, and I just listen to the conversation. It's hilarious with your child if you can do that. And ChatGPT is just incredible, right? And it will always end its answer with a question. Is that enough for you? Did you have more questions on that? Because it keeps the dialogue going. So try that out and see how it keeps the dialogue going. That's the same potential in RCS. And so you get more data, which is going to help back target, the AI is going to help target better messages to people. And so it's just the data, and then it's also just the longer duration gives you more opportunity to convert that sale. Because you're getting more data and then giving them a better reason to believe.
I need to stand and have a look because I cannot see it. From the results of what you've shared there. I cannot see it. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to read out some of it.
Time for Brad actors.
Eliminate fraud is still there big. So I think the next question, Mary, prepare yourself because I think it's going to be a novel answer from you. But
fun.
What should we do to eliminate fraud?
Fun. Okay. I do think that this channel, messaging channel, continues to allow. It's a circumstance of how do we make sure that those that are willing to take the traffic that shouldn't be allowed through, how are they disincented or called out for carrying that traffic? It's as simple as that.
Mary,
I mean,
are you shocking me saying identity and traceability?
No.
No.
I mean, I mean, that's in the end. But the bottom line is that, what are we doing still here talking about this?
Well,
I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
Diggs is back there laughing, but I mean, we're still allowing the bad actors to participate. It is in this power of this community to stop that from happening.
And now back in the jail time for bad actors. You know,
Well,
they're really, I mean, there's a bit of a, oh, okay.
Punitive, but yeah.
Something controversial. Let's see. Let's interact with you. I read here, ban political texting. Raise your hand if you want to ban political texting. I'll go. We got 2, 3.
Actually, hold on. I don't think it should be banned. I just don't think it should have an exemption.
Exemption from,
From
or
the carriers.
special treatment from
Right.
carriers' rules, consent rules.
Yeah. They play by the same rules.
Okay. So interesting. Share information about bad actors. We go back to the same. Cross-industry-wide collaboration. Okay, let's talk about that, because that's usually that could be what we're here for. What do we need to do cross-industry? By the way, your Numeracle is involved. Trusted messaging. Internationally, we're trying to say, what if we're trying to simplify that registration process across multiple, the hundreds of registry now that you need to go through estimate internationally.
Yeah.
And I know that you've got some ideas, and I just pointed out, if anybody would like to join and help to set a benchmark or a standard, come and join us on that working group as well. But back to the cross-industry. Both of you, what can the cross-industry activity be in terms of collaborating in eliminating those bad actors, etc.? I'll sit down again for a bit. Mary?
Well, I'm going to use your incentive thing again.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think that, so a way to do this is if we were to go back to what I think John Brunner talked about in the last one, right? If we have the traceability back to the bad actor, we have the identity of the enterprise, we have the hops that they've gone through in order to get the message all the way through, regardless of what it is, assuming it's just some variety of A to P message. We have the best shot of being able to restrict, they're always going to get through somehow, but restrict the flow of bad actors getting text messaging through. So what does it take to get to that level? And you know, I look at what's happening in branded calling that CTI is facilitating, that Numeracle's a part of. It's an open ecosystem. It's very defined rules. I, for my sins, spent 20 years in roaming. Just let that sit for a minute. And, you know, in the end, you had hundreds, thousands of operators who were competing with one another to figure out how to make it so that I could take my call from, you know, Maryland to New Jersey without dialing an access code for, you know, before I got there, so that I could be served. This is something that's feasible to do. If we were willing to figure out how to make that happen and make sure that the incentives were there. If Jack's going to keep his carrier score as high as it is, and somebody else is not doing the same level of vetting, is not doing the same level of actions that he's doing, well, why are they getting the same treatment? Why are they able to come in? I mean, this again is within our field of view, to be able to establish these things. And I look at what we've done. It's an open ecosystem. It's zero trust. We have defined rules. You can be an originating service provider. You can be a terminating service provider. You can be an onboarding vetting agent. And everybody's got to sign the same rule set. There is a hammer. There is the ability to make the incentives align to what is being put in place. So this is just one thing. It's launched in October. We've got 1 million calls, I think, so far. It's not a lot of traffic, but it's getting there. It's rich call data, right? It's going to show a brand name. It's going to show a call reason. It's going to show a logo. So it's a way to say, okay, well, how do we take something like that and apply it, you know, where the lessons are learned and the possibilities, and everybody agrees to the same deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to keep probably saying the same thing. Sorry. It's where I am today.
It's obvious that we had not spoke about this before. You probably have, but the idea was just to have an impromptu conversation. Let's invite you to the impromptu
Well, I guess
conversation.
in the spirit of sort of wrap up, I took some notes on some stuff that we'll take that into RCS, a little bit of a different angle. Mike Reddy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, from Proof Point, had a couple true-false slides. Hey,
there we go.
I agreed with all your stuff.
That was good.
So I think worth reiterating, like myth number one, that Google runs is the authority on RCS in the US. That's like not true. They're working with the carriers. And Anthony, at the beginning of the day in the keynote, said, hey, the carriers have invested $1 trillion into their network. You know, we tried RCS in 2017, 18, and it was a sort of a little bit of an end around, and without the carriers, that didn't work. Then there was this internal cross-carrier initiative, and now it's back. But the GSMA owns the RCS standard. Carriers could use any one they want. Google is the services provider. And thankfully everything's coming together. But technically the carriers could use someone else. But I think myth number 2 is we're ready with the current billing infrastructure and the billing, not infrastructure, but structure. And I think that's not true right now, so I'm going to do a little soapbox of my opinion. I'd love any of the other aggregators.
I just had mine, so go.
Yeah, right. So I think the easiest way, because I see this, we've talked to all of our brand customers about RCS, and they're excited and concerned. They're excited and worried. What's the ROI? Tell me, how much does this cost? And when you try and describe basic and single in conversation, it's not in a structure and format that they're used to buying, right? And if we want to ease adoption and remove friction, you just make it freaking simple, right? And so the easiest thing is you have SMS. We all know what that is. And there's an MMS, and that costs more, right? It's more of a payload. And so we should mirror that with an RCS-rich text and an RCS-rich media, which costs more. And the simple, and do things like get rid of the 160, RCS doesn't have a 160 character limit. That was a sort of a network SMS thing. And so that's eradicated in RCS, and it should be gone for the simple reason, like my analogy on this is if you go to the post office and you send a letter, it doesn't matter if it's 1, 10, or 1,000 characters on that piece of paper or in 5 pieces of paper. But if you add heft and weight to your parcel, right, then you got to go to FedEx or UPS, and your payload is more, and you're paying more for that. And I think that's the real simple difference between RCS-rich text and RCS-rich media. I know there's stuff to figure out about conversation, but it's as easy it is for everybody in this room to understand, it's very difficult for a brand person, even if they're in charge of messaging, to really comprehend single and basic. And I think that the RCS-rich text, by the way, again, see my soapbox here. I think we eradicate the acronym RBM, just RCS. It's an RCS-rich text, it's an RCS-rich media. Only in mobile would we make RBM an acronym of an acronym. An RBM is a RCS business message. Ridiculous. So, and by the way, I have alignment from Google on that. They agree. Let's just go to market with RCS, so we're talking about one thing.
I think Google has officially said we should not be talking about RBM, is it?
No, it's just RCS.
So box more? I mean, we like this. I think people are reacting. I think more.
Yeah, I mean, it was I guess, throwing it all out there.
Well, I'm going to throw something back at you because you mentioned API. Thank you, Jack. You have mentioned RCS, which in our slide before was the biggest thing everybody said talking about RCS. We have done that. We have talked about identity, the fraud, being the unfortunate things that we need to act on. There was a presentation from Lodima where she mentioned the W word because she saw a duopoly. It's RCS and WhatsApp. What's your view about that? Do you agree in fact it's a duopoly? Is
I will find her at the cocktail party, and I disagree. I mean,
disagree.
They came out.
Like this.
They came out. WhatsApp has said that they're not going to support marketing use cases in the U.S. So, I mean, that's I don't understand why, and I don't understand the timing of that. It's really good for the carriers and good for RCS. Yeah. It will hinder their adoption. We've had a bunch of customers with Facebook Messenger use cases for a long time. Those are very limited in what they can do, and it's mostly transactional messaging. And so this new sort of peculiar announcement is strange. If anybody has insight on it, I'd love to chat afterwards.
Oh, we're starting. Our drinks are starting soon. Check the time as well. I did promise it's going to be a bit more interactive. Thanks for partaking. No!
You can see people out there right there drinking.
It's finished. We go. No, wait, just one more minute. Any other comments or questions that you might have for today? I know that after that announcement, that's a spoiler. Thanks, Susan. Nobody else will. So should we count it until the drinks? You get the last words. Starting with Mary, and then you quick words because drinks are waiting.
I'm just delighted to be here, and thank you for letting me, have some time here at the end of the day with Jack. It was fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm excited. I mean, as much grief as we give everything.
That's right.
It is.
We're still sitting here.
We are less than a year from Apple having worldwide developer conference with June of last year, and then iOS 18 just came out in October. So
that's right.
They're just natural sort of kinks in the road. But I think this forum is so important because this is where everybody meets and agrees on the little things that really matter. And I think alignment is really, so I'm very open to feedback. If anybody disagrees, like, let me know. And I think done is better than perfect. Like, let's get to market.
Yeah.
We need ROI case studies. That's the most important thing, because the people that have the purse, the people that have the buying power, they're confused and sort of cautiously optimistic. We haven't had anybody not be interested, but it's like, well, how much does this cost? Is this more? How much more money am I going to get? And we don't have that answer.
And that's why it's got to start. Agree.
Great. And we still have 25 seconds, so I feel that I should really use it all.
Tell a joke.
And I'm not...
Oh, question.
Well, first, no more questions. You lost me, and my drink is waiting, so let's make it priorities first. But I got another 20 slides to do my conclusion, which is that. And that's really, first, thank you all for being here. It's been great, and it is incredible to have you, first of all, to have this great element of talking, discussing, and bringing the agenda together. So I need to thank you all. If you want to be interested in what we talk about, the next year we are going to do it, and we're going to be doing, again, something, as I probably look at Susan for how big the room is going to be. If you have ideas, if you have a living room, you'd like to try something, we're happy to use that as well. But our plans, I mean, we're going to be in India in 2 weeks. We're going to be in Denmark after that, etc. But we're also going to be in Canada, apologies, more relevant for some of North America, and Indonesia. Actually, really, let me tell you, remember our schedule, which includes Canada next. We're going to be in Las Vegas again in October. The excitement, we have something in the schedule which we hope with the industry potentially to bring. It's called RCS World in September in US. But we don't make money on events, as you can see. We lose a lot of money. We need to understand from you whether that's an important thing to do or not. Are we ready to do RCS World in September as an industry, to tell the outsider, this is for enterprises, to see how good and aligned we are? Are we?
Yes. That's brilliant.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, okay, we'll go and tell us. Make sure that people be more positive. I want the story to be, we're ready, everything works.
Ready.
That's great. On that one, so we're really finished. Drinks, everybody, and the first that hit the pools get a special mention in the next meeting, isn't it? Oh, yes, I should be saying, none of it would be possible without the monetary support as well, not just the other support that we get from Net Number, Cinch, Bandwidth, Proofpoint, Campaign Registry, XConnect, and Somos. And obviously, all of the MEF members, by being a MEF members, you also make this possible. So thank you all for participating and for the great debate so far. Now it's time to relax a bit. Thank you. Thank you.